Hey, my nursing students. Listen, are you struggling to get your learning done in the classroom because people are talking behind you, taking away from your ability to focus in the classroom? Well, you're not alone if that's happening. I just had a student reach out to me and she took advantage of my free 60-minute phone call where I do consults for individuals struggling with challenging relationships all the way up to bullying. I help leaders create safe workplaces, but this particular individual was a nursing student and really struggling to get an environment where she felt she could thrive in at school. Now, she's given me permission to talk about her situation, and I'm going to give as much confidentiality as I can, even within that permission. So this student we'll call V. Okay, V reached out and was saying, listen, I only have the time I have in class to do schoolwork because outside of school, I'm working full time. I think it was full time. And so when I can't get focused in class, that means I got to try and carve out some time elsewhere in my day to go back and watch the lectures, and I just don't have it. I get it. I have sat in the front of an auditorium of like 300 students, front row, and I still couldn't hear the teacher for all the flippin' chatter behind me. So I get the frustration, so I wanted to help her out. Now, the first thing we did was we talked about what was happening in the past that got her to where she is now. And to no surprise, she has a pattern of conflict aversion. Now, that's not uncommon. You may find yourself not wanting to address conflict as well. What that looks like is instead of addressing the students or inquiring, to the students, why are you talking so much in class? She would take her complaint to the teacher. It's a pretty common scenario. And then the teacher would go, I'll take care of it. So, FYI, teachers, if you're listening and you're watching, stop being the savior for students' inability or lack of confidence or lack of courage to have these conversations. Instead, sit with them and uncover a few more pieces and role play how they can have these conversations. Let them be the victor in their own story. Unless you're absolutely needed, but those cases are pretty rare in my opinion. So V shared with me her conflict aversion process, and this happened actually multiple times to the point that the group got together in a chat to find out who the heck is talking to the teacher about us. And through a game of electronic not me, they were able to figure out it was V who had been at the root of all these complaints. So now V's in a big pickle. And what do you do when you're in a pickle? You call me. So once I got clear on what the history was and what she wanted to have as an outcome, we got to work. First thing is get clear on your intention. Now that might sound simple. The intention is to get those students to stop talking. But if you act from that place, you might turn around and say, hey, would you shut up? That's not actually where you want to be coming from. So I do a lot of work with my clients, and we're able to do this in our session. We got down to several layers deeper as to if they were to stop talking, what would that mean for you? And why would that be important? And what would that give you? A series of questions I ask my clients to get to the real thing that they want. And once we got that clarity for V, she was able to feel different about her conversations. It actually supported her confidence and courage to go ahead and address this very challenging situation with her colleagues. Now, for everybody, that thing will be different. And so we utilize that perspective. So just to give you a clue as to where you're going to go, it's going to be a value. And it's usually something along the lines of goodness. I want to be a good student. I want to be very thoughtful. I would like to be respectful. And it's a universal, multi-directional thing. It's not like I want them to respect me, because from that place, you come across like, hey, would you just shut up? Instead, it's, I want to have a respectful learning place where everybody can learn. It feels different when you come from that real true thing that you want. So with V, we got clear on her thing. And then before she went to have the conversation, which we scripted a few things she could share, there's a critical step you need to have in between. Now you know your intention, what you really want, and it's usually goodness for everybody. What do you really want for this relationship? And now, before we go and talk to them in this new way, using these scripts and these insights that we have, we need to diffuse any suspicion they're going to have. And here's the thing. Anytime you show up drastically different in a relationship where you're familiar with somebody, they're suspicious about what's going on. Let me give you an example. You know when you needed that $20 from mom or from dad, and you changed who you were just to get that? A little sweeter, a little kinder, more compliments. And then you slid in the request for the $20 or the keys to the car. We understand that as suspicious language as parents. We pick up on that pretty quick. The same thing will happen with the people you're talking with. So here's what you do to decrease any defenses so that you can try something new to get a different result. You need to share in your preamble. So for example, hey Tammy, I'd like to talk with you again about the talking in the classroom. Before we do, I just want to share with you that I really want to get a different outcome. I'm hoping we can get to this place where we can work together. And because of that, I've actually written out what I want to say. So this is going to sound different. It's going to feel different and uncomfortable for me. But I'm willing to be uncomfortable a little bit if you're willing to let me try something new. We now have them in the arena. They understand our intention. They understand why we're going to sound different. And they're primed and curious to listen. So good news! We had a single coaching call, one 60-minute session. It allowed V to become more confident in some of the things she had already thought about trying. It gave her some different languaging and perspectives that she could then go into that without feeling angry and hostile, but instead collaborative and curious. And it gave her the words to use in order to navigate some of these challenges. So what happened? I'm so glad you asked. I just got an email from her today. I asked her to update me, especially because it was just a single session. I don't get the follow-up. Anyways, she said, overall, everything we talked about was very beneficial and helped me to change my perspective and gave me the confidence to approach the classmates. Now, some of what I suggested, as I said, she was already thinking about, but didn't have the courage to do it. So she did implement the things she was thinking about with that extra bolstered up content I shared with her and helped her. And that's what helped her to improve on the mistakes she made before. She didn't get offended or feel like everything negative was directed at her as a result. So she got there. She asked their permission to see if this was a good time to have the conversation because your students, it was a study group, right? She wanted to make sure she wasn't overstepping during the study time. And they agreed. So yes, we got the micro yes. Awesome. And then she went into her conversation, shared some things. They had a little back and forth. And she learned some stuff about them because one of the things I taught her was a perception check. Powerful tool. It was, hey, when you talk in class, do you do that because of A or you do that because of B? Can you help me understand? So we crafted that for her too. And from there, she was able to learn a little bit more about why they're talking in the classroom. One of them said, I just actually don't understand and I'm trying to get clarity. So instead of asking the teacher, she's talking to her colleague, distracting everybody's learning environment. And so as a result, they've actually agreed now to continue to have conversations. No more going to the teacher and coming through the teacher. It's now they have a commitment to each other. And because she was brave and courageous enough to say what she needed to say, to re-engage with these students to see if they could create something better, another student came forward and said, you know what? I've actually been struggling too. Which hadn't happened before because it had been very adversarial and had been through back channels. So super excited that this lady, that V, did the work. So why do I share that with you? Because you might be in the same situation. Whether it's a crinkling Skittles candy wrapper distracting you from learning, or you've got the talking group behind you, navigating those conversations so you can advocate for a learning environment that suits you, that allows you to be the best possible student you can be, is an important skill. And you might be working with these individuals in the future, so take the opportunities to sharpen your communication skills while you have them. This is Tammy with NurseMinder, and if you're looking for more content on conversations, I have moved that off over to my Conversation Talk Shop with Tammy YouTube channel. Sorry, that's a mouth. It's over on the Talk Shop with Tammy YouTube channel. The algorithms, nursing, education, patho, and communication. I just wanted to separate them. So I come in here every once in a while with an inspiring story, with a tip to help you learn and to redirect you to the other channel where there's tons of content that are going to help you with your situations, from conflict, difficult conversations, all the way up to workplace bullying. So hop on over there, subscribe to that channel as well. Let me know in the comments below, do you happen to have a talkie group that's distracting your learning environment? I'll bet you do. Anyways, let me know what you've done with that, and we'll talk soon.